Hey everybody, Jay Schlansky here from the Fifth Trooper Network. I just want to take a moment to thank you for checking out this show. Did you know that over at thefifthtrooper.com we have tons of other content, including blogs, other podcasts, all kinds of stuff. In addition, if you want access to exclusive content, you can join us on patreon.com/thefifthtrooper and join at any level and you'll get access to exclusive blog articles, access to our private Discord, and much more. So please check us out, and thank you so much for all your support.
Welcome to the Legion 99 podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Legion 99. I'm here with Mike and Rich, and this is Legion 2.6. We skipped right over second edition. And if you're joining us and you live under a rock, well, oh boy, we had mini extravaganza this past weekend, and it did not disappoint. Info upon info, new rules, new version of the game, all
New
kinds
Legion.
of new Legion. This is new. This is not what we are.
We're gonna spell it with an N and a U. New Legion.
It's not your grandpop's Legion.
Not your
It's not your
grandpop's Legion.
grandpop's Legion. All right. Well,
But no, we got a literal dump truck of information, rules, cards, points changes, objectives, range tools.
It's all changed.
Everything is
changed.
It's a new game.
Of like the core of the game, the things that have like are still the same is that you're still using the same miniatures. You're still using the same movement tools, if in a different way, in a lot of ways. And like the dice are the same, and the command, the way you issue orders and like your command tokens is all the same, which is great.
Well, that's not technically true.
Oh, okay. Well, what, the issue orders part, right?
Issue orders part, yeah.
Yeah. So
all I will say is now that since we just so happened to purchase new like order tokens with our updated logo, thank God we got multiple sets.
Oh yeah.
That would have felt so bad.
So big things, right? Do we want to do all right? So we want to do the roadmap first, right? And then we'll get into
let's just knock the
fun stuff,
the roadmap out of the way.
Stuff, right?
Yeah.
Legion of the future.
Yeah. So at every mini extravaganza and Adepticon, they do a roadmap, which is like the next 12 months, give or take, of new Legion stuff. And we got a lot of information here. So we got rules for the Rebel Sleeper Cell and the Riot Control Squad. They look really good. Super disappointed that the Rebel Sleeper Cell is Special Forces. I really wanted some new core. But we'll get to that.
You got some.
Yes, I did. So the which one do we want to talk about first? The Rebel Sleeper Cell or the
let's do the
Riot
Sleeper
Control
Cell, if
Squad?
only because I totally forgot to put these in our
I'm pulling
little
up the
Google
image.
Doc, and I'm
up the image
pasting
right
that one
now, 'cause
first.
I'm sure he's got it.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's
right
do the
here
Rebel Cell
in
first.
Tabletop Admiral. Yeah, so this Rebel Sleeper Cell, I'll take this one. Rebel Sleeper Cell, Special Forces, 70 points base, 6 models base. So you start with 6 models. That's a lot. Surprised about that one. They have a heavy slot, a personnel slot, a gear slot, a comm slot, and a training slot. They have quite a few weapons. They've got range X, they've got det packs with impact 1. So melee. Melee, they're just throwing bombs. It's great. I love it.
Haymaker
Rebel
and a half.
terrorists do it. Blaster pistols, they also have that, which is melee, black and white, suppressive. And then they have their range blaster pistols, which are a different profile, 1 to 2, 2 black dice, no keywords. It's interesting that, we'll get like with all the rules changes and all the updates. AMG is very much pushing people to like get close to each other and fight each other. So this unit's no different. They're 1 health each on a white save. They surge to hit, they surge to block. Keywords, they have Nimble, Scout 2, and Tactical 1. Scout 2 is a big deal now.
Massive.
Scout is huge. It's a huge keyword. We'll get there. But yeah, these guys look good. I'm very excited. I mean, I guess it's okay that they're not a core because I'll only need to buy 3 max. So that's fine, I
I
guess.
actually think it's probably a good thing they're not a core. Having the ability to spam 6 core units with Scout 2 with it built in with the new deployment rules
Yeah, it's
seems
probably
pretty good. So I think capping these guys at 3 is strong because when we talk about the Rebel Marksman upgrade, throwing 14 black dice at range 2 that surge hit that has tactical built in is real strong.
These definitely feel like they were made with the new rules in mind. They play very well with it, uh, from the melee profile to the uh, auto wound that they're given, or near auto wound that they can give with their marksmen. They definitely fit in that mold of what they've done to scout troopers and to the other guys, the commandos.
Yep. Yep.
So they do have 2, we'll call them guy upgrades. There's a heavy weapon, which is a Rebel Marksman. So it looks like this is going to be a new thing because we'll talk about basically the exact same thing on the Empire ones. But this is Rebel Marksman Miniature. It costs an action, and if you're not engaged, you get to choose an unengaged trooper unit at range, an unengaged enemy trooper unit in line of sight. You roll a red attack die. On a hit or crit, the chosen unit suffers 1 wound and gains 1 suppression token. So it's a mini Amban rifle.
Yep.
I really like that it's only a single action because you can still move and do this. You can do this shoot depending on where you're at. I think it's a pretty flexible card. 28's a lot for a white save, but as we'll talk about in a minute, you now get 1,000 points instead of 800.
Spoilers.
So, I don't think it's overcosted. And then the other one I think is stapled on. Like I consider these guys 75 points off the bat. They have an astromech miniature.
Yeah,
It's a non-combatant for 5 points, and it says when this unit ends a move at range 1 of 1 or more objective tokens, it gains a dodge.
Yeah.
I think that's great, especially with nimble.
Yeah, I'm not as interested in the marksman because the point this is still costs a lot. 28 still a lot of points for that ability. Cause then you're not taking a dodge action unless you have the astromech and you moved, and then you're not attacking, right? It's like you're
Right.
doing that. It seems good, like maybe a one-off, but I don't
When
know.
you're not in range of something, it's gonna be a great move to use.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the fact that you can do it to a Yoda, a
Oh yeah.
Dooku, a
Yeah.
Vader, uh, that's pretty healthy
I
for keeping
guess
those guys in
I guess if
range.
you could take 6 of them, you would take 6 of these things, and then you could just kill whatever you want every round, basically, right?
Well, we'll
Yeah,
get there. We'll get there.
Oh well. All right.
opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like.
Also,
I think these guys are going to be a hit.
rules is written. They can take like the rebel personnel upgrades. Rules is written right now
Oh yeah, you're right.
because they still have the just rebel only, and like personnel slots have always been kind of unique to core. So, yeah.
That's a good point. I hadn't considered that actually.
I'm smart. What can I say?
Does that even apply to the new card editions that we've gotten? Or that is that still the same on like the Rebel Proton Pack guy? Or not Proton Pack
Um,
guy, Medic.
I will let you know in a split second.
I will say that the bombs not being bombs, little sad, little just small s sad on that one. I understand why it's not that way, but it would have been nice if the game had developed more multiple ranged attacks into things.
Agreed. I do not see the generic rebels on the new cards, so I would imagine that it is still the same.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah, they're not on there.
they haven't been changed.
Cool.
Um,
Should we talk about the Empire version?
yeah. Well, it's very different,
Yeah, so
which
the
I'm
Empire
appreciative.
has a new core unit called the Riot Control Squad. It's a squad of 4 guys compared to the 6. They have charge and a new keyword called hold the line, which says while this unit is engaged, it gains surge hit and surge block. Why does it need
I
that,
see.
you might ask? Because they're melee stormtroopers.
Yep.
So they're red save, 1 courage, 1 health, speed 2. They have your typical Empire E11 at range 3. It's a white die. and they have a stun baton in melee that is suppressive. It's a single black. So in melee, they're black surge to hit. They're 50 points. They have 2 heavy weapon upgrade options, a gear, and a training. They also have a Stormtrooper Marksman, so it's the same thing as the Rebel Sleeper Cell Marksman, where you get to spend an action to roll that red attack die on an unengaged trooper unit and potentially do a wound like the Ambam, except it costs 30 points. And arguably more interestingly, they have a KX series security droid. It's 30 points, and it says add 2 KX security droid miniatures that are a red in melee and have impact 1.
Yep.
So for 80 points, you get 6 of them, and it's 4 black, 2 red in melee, assuming they get there. That's surge hit. That's not bad.
And I would say it's probably necessary given that the regular stormtroopers have had their weapons reduced to white die in melee. More interesting to me is that they defend to surge to block in melee, which is the thing that they've taken away from all of the Jedi. So these stormtroopers are more durable than Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, they have the shield, so it makes sense that they would surge to block in melee. I like it thematically a lot. I think it works. Like
I think it works real good.
Shield.
I like having they're not pierce resistant, which means
right.
You'll still be able to chomp through them with something with a lot of good impact or good pierce.
Like a lightsaber.
With like a lightsaber. And from range, they're gonna suffer because they don't have that precise, they don't have the tools that you would need to be able to just stay back and weather a few shots.
Yeah, I don't think you're shooting with these guys almost ever. Like I think
just a dump suppression.
It seems like a wasted action.
Especially
with the new rules.
I do just want to clarify one thing. Stormtroopers regular ones are black dice in melee, so they're actually the same punch as a regular storm.
Pretty sure that got updated.
I thought that got updated. Yeah.
Oh, did it? Oh, got it. Okay, never mind. Ignore me then. I do think that you'll probably look at taking 2 of the KX security droids on these guys, though. For 110 points, you'll be able to get an 8-man squad that has 4 black, 4 red in melee, and you can pull the reds last. So if you combine that charge with something like a new ways to motivate them, that's a pretty decent like counter charge unit with Vader.
Mm-hmm.
3 moves into a charge that's going to do like 4 red, 3 black. It's pretty good.
It's interesting that it's double heavy slots, because obviously I don't think the pack is going to come with 2 K2 security droids.
No, I think it does.
4 K2 security.
Oh
droids.
yeah. No, I think
3D printer Gober.
But yeah, like I'm gonna love seeing K2 on the board in his various alterations. That's really cool to me.
Yeah, I think the unit's solid. I just made the joke like 5 minutes ago that you could just spam 6 of these with the or we made the joke a couple minutes ago you could spam 6 with the Stormtrooper Marksman. I don't think these are a 6 of, unless that turns out to just be absurdly busted. But I think you could probably call it like a 1 or 2 of for the core. 80 to 110 points to throw in like another melee linebacker in our new potentially close range game is not a bad investment.
Yeah, for sure.
Want to quickly hit the crab droids?
Yes.
Does anybody want to go through that? I have the card up if not.
You can go through it. Very reminiscent of ATRTs.
Yeah, so armor 2 for 70 points, a climbing vehicle, programmed, repositioned, scale, scout 1, scouting party 1. They have 2 red, 1 white, and 1 black in melee, with impact 2, pierce 1, 5 health, 3 resilience, red defense dice, surge to attack. Their 2 upgrades look like a twin blaster cannon, which is 2 red, 2 black, range 1 to 3, and then for 10 is a heavy laser cannon 1 to 3, 5 black. So a very, very powerful ATRT indeed.
Yeah, there's impact 3 on that heavy laser cannon as well. I know it's kind of covered up by some of the Twitch chat comments in the screenshot.
The most interesting thing to me on that is Scouting Party 1.
Who's riding the crab into battle, baby?
Right? Like, getting a scouting party on, say, like Magna Droids
Yeah.
or Dooku or Maul or anybody else is pretty cool, especially with how scouting party will be affecting the game going forward. Scout being stronger of a keyword, scouting party also gets a little bump from that too.
Mhm.
Yeah, scout is gonna like arguably be the new keyword that you want to spam. Like I think recon intel went up to 5 for a reason.
Yep.
Because you're gonna want to throw that on like basically everything.
Whatever you can afford.
Yeah. Anything that wants to be close, you're going to almost need it to have scouting party
Hmm.
or scout now. I think this unit's pretty solid. It doesn't strike me off the bat as like anything truly like game breaking per se, but I think you'll find a niche for it. 70 point or 75 or 80 points at its base is pretty inexpensive. Even if you just throw like something like a transponder on top of it for an aim, if you ever need that, it's solid. It'll get the job done. It'll be annoying in melee if it gets there because it does have the pierce on the crab claws. So, 4 dice of pierce is no slouch.
And armor two is pretty considerable too. Um, it looks like a good unit. I like it.
Yeah, for 70 points, it seems like something to play around with. I'm glad it's in that in that double digit, even after upgrades. So for the
Seems
rest
good.
of the roadmap, we unfortunately don't have spoilers, but we are going to see the Rebel Sleeper Cell and Riot Control in October 2024, which is awesome. And then going into Q1, we'll see the Crab Droids, ARF Troopers, Aqua Droids, and the Outer Rim Terrain Pack, which I think we saw all of them at Mini Strav, or at least the models for them.
We did, yeah.
I know we got some paint jobs this time around,
Yep.
thinking they were cool. In Q2, we're basically going to see a lot of reprints. We've got Hard Plastic Storms, Rebel Troopers, Scout Troopers, and Commandos. But but
And
but we're also going to see Padawan Ahsoka Tano and Commander Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah,
wow, they
buddy.
did it. They finally did it. They
Uh,
I watched back during this and they mentioned that Padawan Ahsoka, I think it's going to be like some kind of attachment or something like
I think
that.
they said she was like essentially an upgrade. Like she's not
Yes.
like a
Not
full
even a unit.
standalone unit.
Right. It sounds like it's. They did also mention that she goes in 501st with Anakin Well. So I think like. So that's good.
Give me that teamwork card, baby.
Yeah, maybe.
the new
In
models that they print for the reprints.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't seen them colored, if you haven't seen the Commandos or the
Great.
Scouts, I recommend you take a moment to look at them. They all look fantastic. The animal head, alien heads look really amazing on all of the Rebel troopers. Uh, Very, very much a welcome change.
Yeah, they knocked it out of the
Absolutely.
park again. I'm glad to see that they've kept like we've kind of talked in the past that Shatterpoint has some absolutely insane miniatures, and I'm glad to see that that quality at a smaller scale has continued to travel over to Legion as well.
Legion's base size makes it more difficult to do the like real dynamic posing and stuff like that, but like these scopes look great.
They're
Like,
so good.
yeah.
I'm
Um,
excited to pay you to paint them.
um, Q3, uh, we're going to be getting the updated faction card packs. So we'll get where we haven't, because we haven't talked about like the rules change, but a lot of cards changed. And right now we're working on print and play. So, which is a bummer. But the idea is that like, I think more cards are going to be changing come next year. So I think they're just going to they want to put them all in one pack, which I think makes sense from like it I don't know. I
I'll
mean,
agree to disagree there, but at least we have the print and play.
I'm trying.
Yeah,
Like I'm glad we don't have to like wait a year for like them to do this update while they like get cards printed, which I guess is like, would have been the alternative. But anyway, Heroes of the Rebellion pack, a whole bunch of new sculpts for Luke Skywalker, Leia, Chewie, and Han. They look
thank
They
fantastic.
look
fuck.
so sick. That
Yeah.
Chewie model is so good.
They're amazing. They're all really good. They're all like, we waited so long because like Han looks the old Han looks terrible, the old Leia looks terrible, Commander Luke looks terrible now compared to
Dude,
everything else, and it's
that
like,
the new
yeah,
Commander Luke is the best model of the group, right?
yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yeah, for
Like
sure.
that's so good.
yeah,
He's got his like Yavin medal ceremony outfit on, which is great. It's like different, you know. It's nice
He's
to.
got the cool like standing down
Mhm.
pose, so it's kind of neat because it like mirrors his dad's
Mhm.
pose that's already in Legion. Because like
yeah.
Anakin has a lightsaber back, but Luke has it pointed down.
Mhm.
So I think it's kind of neat.
It's great.
And then we're also going to get updated sculpts for Commander Darth Vader and General Veers. I don't think we needed another Vader, to be honest with you. It'll be cool to
I'm good
have.
with it.
That's neat. It looks good.
The
I
Veer
like
Once
sculpt
the
looks
again,
great.
the cape's always flowing with
I
AMG.
like the cape on that one. The cape on that one, I feel like wraps around him a little bit
You
more.
ain't seen
It's
you
nice.
ain't seen nothing yet. If you ain't seen the Shatterpoint Vader with the parachute cape,
I
it's
haven't.
something extra. So
the
yeah, it's something extra. But
the Veers
yeah.
model looks good. That one needs an update as well. That was the first model I ever painted myself, so I'm excited to have a Veers that doesn't look like literal dog crap.
Mhm.
And then we're also going to get the Clone Trooper Marksman, which is a new unit. We don't have any spoilers for them yet. And we're going to get updated sculpts for the Clone Trooper Infantry, aka Phase 1 and Phase 2s that are now all one thing.
Yeah,
More
we'll
on that
get there.
later.
We'll get there. Yeah, yeah. But the resculpts, hard plastic, the infantry and the
I,
marksmen's.
I have a dumb question, Nick
What's
and
up?
Rich. Aren't Phase 2s hard plastic already? Is this basically
Yes.
like a Phase 1
But yes, but
resculpt?
I think the idea here is that like you're going to be able to build your army in either phase ones or phase twos or a mix of if you want. This is like so
Is it like a head pack with it as well, like helmet
yeah,
wise?
I think
Probably,
there's going to
yeah.
be a phase one, a phase two for every model. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure that's what they said. So, which is ideal.
Yeah, that makes way
Yeah,
more sense all of a sudden because I was sitting
yeah,
there before we started, like, why are we getting reprints of the Phase
yeah.
2s? And
So
then Q4
one thing
said,
to note, one thing to note about some of these reprints. So, like the Stormtrooper reprint, it comes with a T-21 and a like it doesn't seem to have all of the heavies, which is
10,
interesting.
10 bodies in a pack though. Uh,
Right.
I
Well, yeah. I
so
hope that
just as an aside, I am a little concerned that the price on those boxes are going to be pretty hefty given
yeah,
what they've been
yeah, they are.
charging
They are.
already.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm just looking out to see what that's going to be like.
I
Yeah.
mean, let's be blunt. We're in GW price territory now.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, we're
uh,
there.
yeah,
And model count.
everything's
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much. Um then Q4, General Grievous on wheel bike.
Sick.
They
So they
showed
did say there's going to be like mounted units, like
yes.
hero units. Seems kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
And
Yeah, I'm here for it.
long time Rich O'Brien request right there. Getting to see
Han and Luke on Tauntaun.
Han and Luke on Tauntauns, Grievous on a wheel bike. Give me Kenobi on the dragon thing that he rode in episode 3. I'll take it.
They hinted that there's like another one coming that like so it's probably Obi-Wan riding that
It
dragon
has
thing.
to be
It's got to
Kenobi.
be.
There's no way they do a
Unless it's
Grievous model and
maybe
not
it's
do
hold on,
Kenobi.
hold on. Deep cut. Maybe it's Boba Fett from the holiday special riding that monster. Come on.
Boba Fett on a Rancor.
No, he's not riding. Oh yes. From
Hey,
Book of Boba Fett. Let's
hey,
fucking do it.
I'm thinking that it's going to be a Gungan on Jar Jar Binks on top of
Oh,
one of those little dragon things.
it's it could be that. It
Oh
could be
my God, I
Obi-Wan.
just looked up what the Boba Fett thing is.
Yeah, right. It's
That would
terrible.
be amazing. You have to paint it pink.
It could be anything now that we're like really thinking about it. Like Obi be mirroring General Grievous, it should be Obi-Wan on the dragon, but I guess it could be Jar Jar. So like page 2 of the new rule book has Gungan. It has Gungans on it. Just saying. Like we're ready. Uh Also in 2026, Imperial probe droids finally. They're a lot smaller than I thought they'd be. They're on like a trooper base, which is surprising. I
A little
thought
bit.
they'd be bigger, but I
But they'd be
guess
like a support.
they said they had trouble figuring out exactly how big they are. Like, because like there is like, I guess conflicting information out there. And like they don't actually know like how big it actually is or something, or no one's like 100% sure. I don't know. it was something they discussed near the end of the presentation because I went back and listened to it. And then we have the Imperial High Command, which has a Krennic resculpt.
But
More importantly, Thrawn, Tarkin, and there was somebody else. I can't remember who. I don't remember who it was. They mentioned them by name, but I don't recognize it.
So do we think?
Go ahead.
Do we think this is the direction that they're moving with the new leader packs? Is to do multiple in a pack, kind of like they do Shatterpoint. So like Tarkin.
It doesn't bother me at all as long as they're not mixing factions up. It's like in like four like that pack probably costs like $50. That's my guess.
It's 4 models. It's gonna be more than 50.
It's only it's 4 models and it's 4 units, right? So it's like, you know, are they going to charge like $100 for 4 models? I don't think so, but it'll probably be like more affordable than selling them individually. Like, whereas like they would be like $25 if it's a single model with the current price, you know, the current pricing. So it'll probably be less than that, but we'll see. I mean, it's exciting that like you're probably getting Thrawn and Tarkin. Like, that's cool. Like,
it looks like Piet or Callus based on the sculpt. I haven't had time to go back and listen to the stream again.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rich, I do think this is the model you're gonna see. You'll probably see like a resculpt and a new unit for the probably like next 2 years as they resculpt all the old soft ones.
I think they're doing their best to resculpt things as quickly as they can, and this is kind of the best way to roll it out, unfortunately, because like
I don't hate it. Like, you're getting something new and you're getting something old at the same time, because you'll hear me complain later on, most likely, that next year is only 6 new units and a whole bunch of reprints. So,
and if you're rebels in Empire, even though we're getting essentially a whole new game to play with, there's not anything unique new coming your way.
It's kind of the problem that 2.0 had when X-Wing 2.0 came out, is that like it was so exciting when it first came out and like everybody bought all their stuff, and then there was nothing. There was like in the next year there was like 1 or 2 new things that came out, and that was a major design issue, I think.
I do think that them starting off Q1 of 2026 with 3 models already, though, does, well, not 3 models, but 3 different releases and multiple units in each.
They're new units, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like that does spell that maybe like it's just they're doing the cleanup this year. They're taking this year to do the cleanup, and next year in 2026, it'll be hitting the gas with as much hitting the ground with as much gas as possible.
Yeah. It's like there's a few things in 2025, a few new things. Most of it's early in the year, and then it's like the middle of the year, and then you're gonna get Grievous on a wheel bike. What fucking else do you want? Like, I don't want anything else. I just want Grievous on a wheel bike.
Yeah.
Just trying to put that model together in my head already gives me headaches.
Also, the Clone Trooper Marksman is going to be a different unit. So
yes. Yeah, the new units that I was talking about would be the Crab Droids, ARF Troopers, Aqua Droids, Ahsoka, Marksman, and Grievous on a wheel bike. Like, I'm sure the Outer Rim Terrain pack will be cool. I think it'll be great for stores like getting into it. Hopefully, it has some new pieces that are pretty playable. But it's not a new unit. We talked about that in the past, though. I don't need to rehash that. It's cool.
Are they going to include the priority mission tokens and half-inch unit measures in that terrain pack, or no?
They haven't said anything.
They haven't said anything. I assume it's going to come in that card pack. There's going to be like a couple pieces of cardboard stuck in there, and that'll be how you get it. For now, it's like as long as you have like if you know somebody with a 3D printer, ZZM Armory put up like free files for that. So if you know somebody with an FDM printer, or even you can print them in resin, like you can get yourself. You don't have to print those yourself.
I'm using a tape measure, honestly.
It's only 3 inches. Like you could just cut like a piece of wood in 3 inches and use it.
I have luckily, like, from my short-lived time with Malifaux, I have a little like 3-inch to 5-inch ruler I'm going to use for that, and then there's a couple like 2-inch bases there, so it'll be close enough.
Yeah, I'm going to my buddy's tomorrow night to pick up some a bunch of acrylic cut stuff,
We're
So
talking about
becoming a
trying to make
bunch of
them door prizes at some tournaments that were coming up.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
sure.
That's a
Yeah.
really good idea.
Um,
So, should we jump into like new rules and such? I think that covers the roadmap, right?
yeah, that's the roadmap. A lot of stuff coming out next year.
A lot of exciting
Um,
stuff, honestly.
yeah. I'm excited for my Rebel Troopers just don't look like nearly as good as my other stuff. So it's like I'm excited to like buy new Rebel Troopers, but now I'm gonna have to buy a lot of Rebel Troopers, it sounds like. Because
Yes.
uh so we're now at 1,000 point Legion, folks. That's like that's like the big like shock and awe, right? It's like they did a points increase. Like we're now playing at 1,000 points. They didn't change the force organization chart. So
I also want to point out a lot of units got cheaper.
yeah. Mostly force
There's
users
some
though.
upgrades that went up, but like most units, like some of the heroes, and with the exception of some of the speeder units, like nothing went up
Yeah.
accordingly. Like we're
Characters
just
pretty much all went down across the
yeah,
board if they
we're
did
we're
anything.
basically just adding 200 points to the top. So
Yeah,
armies
it,
got bigger.
and I'll add, even though the force organization chart didn't change, detachment did change.
Yeah.
And detachment has hit a lot of different units, and now no longer counts towards your armor requirement. So like, hey, MK turrets, suddenly
Yeah.
you're at six
You can
core.
bring 6 shores and 6 mortars.
Yeah, like
That's just what a
that's a
fucking
lot.
war crime.
That's a lot.
I'm looking at you, Josh.
We didn't put together a 14 activation Vader list with 6 T21s.
No.
Like that's a thing.
He sent me 3 different lists that had 6 shores and 6 mortars because he's a degenerate. It's fine. I love him.
By the way, they're on sale on Amazon right now.
Hint, hint,
He's such a terrible person.
hint.
The game is
But
also now only 5 rounds long.
uh, I think those two changes are massive. Uh, but least of all, they're massive because we got brand new battle cards and a new mission build system.
We and not only did we get brand new battle cards, like just to be abundantly clear, we got 18 new cards to use, and all of the old ones are scrapped. So it's not a refresh of the objectives. It's a flat out redone, brand new, nothing carried
It's a
over.
new system. There's no
Yeah.
more bidding. So if you're not taking 800 points or 1,000 points, like
What are you
sucks to be
doing?
you.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
either at
There's
1,000
no
or
bidding.
999, depending on like how the math works
Right.
out.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
and I haven't gone over all of them. Have you guys gone over them yet?
Uh I'll make my one sarcastic comment. It's basically 5 intercept and 1 breakthrough. So I've gone through a lot of them.
Is that a bad thing?
We will find out. We have no data. Like
It's
they
forcing because so the scoring is very similar. So, all right. So, like, basically, the way this works now is that each player brings 3 missions and
Mhm.
3 secondary missions
and 3 advantage cards.
and 3 advantage cards. And
Which should
basically, go ahead.
I would say before we jump into that, there's 3 new card types before we start throwing out lingo.
Mm-hmm.
There's mission cards, there's secondary objective cards, and there's advantage cards. Mission cards are now your map and what you're doing on the battlefield
Yep.
rolled into one. Secondary objective cards are a new secondary objective.
It
So now
adds a
there's going to
second
be
way to score.
there's going to be 2 ways to score victory points now to win. And then advantage cards are basically the old condition cards in a way, but they give you some sort of like boon or bonus for bringing them. You know, it gives you like a 1 or 2 time thing to help make your army a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
Oh, no. So basically, you each bring 3 mission cards. You each bring 3 secondary cards, secondary mission cards, whatever they're called. Damn. And 3 advantage cards. Basically, you get to the table, you roll a die to determine who is blue player. Whoever is blue player gets to choose if they're going to place one of their primary or secondary objectives down or their advantage down. I believe you can do any of the 3.
Mm-hmm.
Then the red player gets to either they can either basically put one of their cards on top of the card you put or fill out one of the other 2 spaces. And then basically your second play is to put in something else in one of the other slots, and then vice versa. And then basically, so yeah, there's like it's in the rule book. It tells you exactly how to do it.
It's
Yeah,
pretty hard
it's
to explain without just flat out reading it. So I
yeah.
would incur it. It's kind of wordy, to be blunt.
Yes, yes.
Uh,
A problem that I have with the entire new rule book.
yeah.
Please don't go to
Can
your
we?
game night without reading through these rules, these
Yeah,
new rules, and how this is done, and printing out the mission cards because it's a new game.
yeah.
It's a new game.
Also, this is just a personal aside. Can we get an editor to like split it up a little bit? Like, the text is real wordy,
It
so
needs
hope.
it needs a pass. It needs a grammatical pass to help clarify and make it a little bit more concise. Um, just as an observation, it is not as tight as it needs to be for a released product in
Yeah,
my personal experience just reading through it. Um, so one thing, just as a correction to make sure that we're staying it right, you don't pick advantage as blue player first. You have to pick either main objective or secondary objective, and then your opponent gets to choose whichever one you didn't choose.
yeah.
For the very first round of laying down the cards. Um, and so you build the missions from there, and you can pass. You can also pass to take control of blue player, uh, and go back and forth from which side of the board you want, because blue player now gets to choose which edge of the board they want.
Yeah, so you can pass, you can add a card to either side, or you can claim blue player. So each player gets two action choices per se, and then once both players get the option to go twice, the game starts. One thing that's a little bit different from this that's kind of interesting is the card, if you choose to replace one of the categories, is random. You do not get to pick the one that goes on top of it. You flip over a random card from your stack and put it on top. So I'm just going to use names that all the players are familiar with. If your battle deck was key positions, intercept, and sab, and you want to flip one of those over, like for the objective, you don't get to pick which one you want to play. You just take one of the three at random and put it on top. And then if the players go back and forth enough that like a category would be emptied, you just reshuffle the ones that aren't in use and flip over a random one again. So the scenario setup is a little bit more. It, I think it's going to be a little harder to like metagame
Yeah,
because you really don't know what you're going to be playing. Though, like I mentioned, a lot of the new objectives are more about like area control.
and it feels like a lot of the maps look a lot similar to each other, in terms of
Yeah.
loadouts and whatnot. None of them are long edge. None of them are, sorry, short edge. None of them are, uh, you know, sticking out into the middle of the map the way that some of like major offensive did, or anything like that.
There's no
Uh,
hemmed in style.
there's no hemmed in style. Yeah,
Thank God.
I will admit, from a playing in a tournament perspective, I'm kind of glad there's no short edge objectives
a
or
lot
deployments.
cleaner. Yeah,
Like that, it's going to be way easier to play and like
yeah.
step up to the table and go. But
Uh,
we've got a lot of like battle lines adjacent, which is what a lot of setups ended up being with advanced positions, major, and battle lines anyway. So like I'm not attempting to just like cry over spilled milk. It's not like this is
no,
everything was totally different before.
and to be honest with you, I am perfectly okay with this. I think this is one of the things that looks the most interesting to me. I liked building your own battle deck. I liked picking up, but in the end, most of the time, I always picked the ones that I was best at rather than the ones that made a difference. You know,
Mhm. I do think that the secondary objectives are my one of my favorite things. I had been calling for this for a long time. Uh, not these specifically, like the way that it's done, but in terms of the concept of like having another way to make the game flow. I love the fact that you now have a main objective and then a secondary way to score something. And some of them are different. Like some of them, like bring them to heal is about panicking and suppressing units. So it's not necessarily just kill more stuff, even though there are objectives that are that. But some of them are like more along the lines of like playing recover the supplies while you're playing intercept. Just to put it bluntly, I think that's more of the they call it recon mission now. So there's different ways to like play deathmatch while you're doing it. So you're rewarded for killing different units that you mark before the game. So I think it'll add a pretty cool dynamic flow to how the game goes. If you're going to play let's call it close the pocket is literally intercept from before. It's intercept on disarray. So if you play close the pocket 3 times in a row, the odds are all 3 of your games will flow a little bit differently because you're going to try to be doing something else secondarily, which
And
I hope is good. Hopefully they're well balanced.
that secondary objective is the objective of flavor. If you ask me, it is the condition that added a little bit of flavor to what you were doing and how you were doing, which I really like.
I'm very thankful that they did not just change 2 battle cards. Like we talked in the past, like KP needed an update, Sab needed an update. I'm glad they didn't just keep our same battle cards and refresh 2. So I'm very appreciative of the fact that we got an entirely new battle system for a brand new game.
It feels like MCP.
Does it?
Like, yeah. In MCP, you each bring you bring 3 of each type of crisis card, and there's 2 different kinds. There's extracts and there's secures. The extract is like you interact with something, pick it up, and then the secure is like you just hang out by it, like intercept. And it's like it's also like mapped on the board. There's like a picture on each card that tells you where to place each objective. Basically, like whoever wins the priority roll chooses which deck they're going to use, and then you each basically draw a random card from your 3, and then that's what you play. It also scoring happens every round, like in this, and it also ends. It's like the cap is 16 in Crisis Protocol, it's 12 here, so it's it's a little different. I think like you're going to see a lot of games end early.
It is very much an AMG style game where the points are static and the map is static. And honestly, that's one of the things that I like most about Shatterpoint is the objective system, being within those point of interest, being in the same spot all the time. It means that you kind of know how to set up a board right from the onset, with terrain and whatnot. And that should carry over to this too. Even though the points of interest can be in a lot of different spots, generally speaking, you're going to be able to know where they are and where to put your terrain to give it flavor.
Yeah. So going off of that, can I throw a random hot take segment in?
Fire.
And this is mostly directed towards Nick. Should there be standardized terrain if we have standardized points for everything now? Because we no longer place our own objectives. They are all so every single mission that you will play is static. Should there be like an ITC equivalent standardized terrain setup or like 2 or 3 that you rotate between?
Maybe. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, we're probably going to figure out that like there are certain places where you can't place terrain anymore, or it doesn't like, there's going to be like, oh, like, but I don't know. I mean, I hope not, but I could see it.
I also hope not. One of my favorite things about Star Wars Legion has been the boards. Getting to go and see a Nick Bodner exclusive Naboo table or Phoenix table or Geonosis, or I hear there's a Lotho coming up. Uh, getting to see some of those boards really is really cool.
Boy.
I also hope that that's the case. I think one of the skill gaps of Grandpa Legion was knowing how to play on a table. If you've never seen it before, I'm going to call it Grandpa Legion. Okay.
So
I'm embracing my new decade by calling something that I used to do a grandpa thing. Okay.
Zelinka called it Legacy Legion, and I kind of feel that coins real well.
No, that is good, but I'm doing my thing.
Alliteration, man. Alliteration.
Let me yell at the kids. All right.
Yeah.
But I hope that it's not the case, but I do think that it might be required for competitive events.
We'll see.
Like when we talk about Worlds next year for the Worlds Open Invitational, which I'm assuming will be new rules since that's the new game. I would actually like to see like a couple standardized layouts, because if everything is going to be static on what we're playing, I would like to know that the tables that we set up to will be able to support the game that we're playing. Sure. So we'll see. Random hot take segment over. Going off of that, so we're not going to go through the battle cards here today. That would take forever, and none of us have played them yet. So we're all going to get multiple games in before we come back for the next episode, so we'll be able to talk about some of the new missions. So we'll go through reactions there. But you'll notice as you read through them, there's like securing objectives, which involves a half range, which is a new measurement that we have. So there's a new range that's half range. It's exactly 3 inches, half of range one. And it looks like that's going to be the new cohesion and we'll say like interacting range. A lot of these objectives seem that when you're securing something, you don't necessarily need to be in base contact anymore. You just need to be at half range, so within 3 inches, which with all the extra models on the board and the fact that every objective -1 seems to clump you in the middle is probably a good thing.
You can
Just
pass
for
through
like
it.
spacing purposes.
You can pass through enemy units now.
Yeah, it's like you can
There's no
walk through
displacement.
mortars.
So yeah. Um, I like it just because it gets rid of you using the speed one tool for measurements. Like that
For
should never
cohesion.
have been a thing, or cohesion.
Yeah. No, I like this. I think this is a really good addition. It just gives them way more flexibility because before you were either limited, like you had a 6 inch gap. It was either I'm touching it or it's 6 inches away. And I think cutting that in half just gives them way more like space to breathe when it comes to creating rules, interactions, things of that nature.
Yep, I'm not a I don't have a problem with it. Um, a lot of the deployments are like they're all like range 1.5 instead of range one, so more room.
Yeah, it's why I just want to use a tape
But
measure because like
yeah,
I'm just going to
you
measure out
totally
9 inches.
Yeah. But speaking of deployment's different now too.
Yeah. How do we want to cover this? Do you want to read the rule for it or should we explain it?
I think I'd rather just explain it because I think
Yeah,
reading the rule is a
it's
little clunky.
confusing. It's like
It's
hard to
It
it's
is.
understand. It's like
it goes a little weird. So deployment now starts round one. The game starts round one deploying. All of your units that are undeployed currently are all within range of each other, have line of sight of each other, uh, and that is ad infinitum while they are undeployed. You issue your orders like you normally would for at the start of a round. You play your command card like you normally would at the start of a round, uh, and then you go back and forth from whoever won the pip off to deploy. To deploy, you place a movement tool, a speed two movement tool, uh, to your board edge, which is your friendly territory, uh, on your mapped out area, uh, where the battle card says to go, and then you are allowed to put a unit leader in a unit at the end of that speed two movement. That is them being deployed. Then they get their two actions in which to
no,
one
No,
action. Sorry,
one
one
action.
action. One
If you
action.
have scout though, you can deploy using your scout move, which is huge.
and then you get
Yes.
your two actions,
And
which
then
one of
you
them
get your
is the
two
move
actions.
and then the blah.
Yeah, one of them is to move, and then the other one is to shoot something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. That there you go.
That's okay. I don't apologize.
And that is how you deploy back and forth, in that way. I think it adds a whole new dynamic to the game. There is no more uh having perfect information. In the battle plan can change right after you've deployed your first unit, which
So you're
is
not
great.
gonna have moments where like your opponent like put some like deployed something super poorly and like realizes it after they like issued their orders and now like the you have an opportunity to like kill that unit before they even activate it, which is a thing that happened occasionally. So like that can't happen anymore, right? Like because you're not deploying until like you
That's not
activate.
necessarily true.
Oh,
Right,
that
but you
could
already got to activate them when you deploy them.
Right. But we talked about scout being
Mm-hmm.
important before. We're not playing a 5 turn game. We're playing a 4.5 turn game because the first one is a move.
yeah.
So if you have the ability to get the move with scout, you can kill things essentially before they do anything.
Right, but they already activated once, technically. So
Correct,
it's
correct.
like
Yes, they
they
have
already
activated,
activated. Hmm.
but
So
I
like they had an
actually,
action.
yeah, I kind of disagree with your comment though, because I think you'll see that exacerbated a little bit more. Because now, if somebody makes a mistake, especially in the first half of deployment, I don't need to wait until turn one to kill it. I'm killing it now.
Sure. Yeah, it's a different way of looking at it, I guess.
Yeah,
Like,
it is way more interactive for deployment.
sure.
But I actually think that'll be like the biggest new skill gap that the new rules create is like how do you deploy?
deployment has always been very important. And I think this definitely ups the challenge of it. Um, because you are also scoring on turn one. Uh,
Turn two.
oh, sorry, turn two. So if you're not getting in there quick, uh, you could really fall behind, and the game can be over pretty quickly. Because the other part of it is this game does not have to end at turn five; it can end at any point.
I think there's a larger snowball potential with the new setup. I'm not saying that I think it's going to happen a lot, but I think the possibility is a little bit more realistic because now there's no comeback once you hit that like tipping point.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I think deployment is going to be even more hypercritical when you're only talking about a 4.5 game, because if you can neuter a portion of your opponent's army before essentially their scoring begins, you have just a massive advantage.
uh, I do feel like it hurts infiltrate a lot. This new deployment method. The infiltrate keyword, even though it is still very useful and does a lot for uh what you're trying to do is and move up, it's still being able to only deploy in your own friendly area. Yeah, cuts a lot of options off the knee of infiltrate units.
So it does, but your zones are all like 9 inches. So you're still getting 9 inches of extra space every single time. And you can't be blocked out of that, which is essentially what infiltrate
Right.
was before. I'm not, you lose some of the like more edge case
You lose a
plays.
lot of flexibility, but it's going to keep you safer, I think, in the end. Like,
Yeah, you lose a lot of those weird spots where it's like you're playing disarray recover and like there's a rock on the far side and you can drop behind the rock and like your opponent can't get to you. Like that's gone now, but you will always get an extra 9 inches, which I think is massive. Like that's huge on clone commandos
That's what
because
she
they can
said.
just, yeah,
I had to.
basically.
I had to. At
There's
least
been like 4 lines so far that I could have used that. Thank you very much.
at least once.
But like clone commandos can just drop aim shoot now, or I guess drop move shoot now, and then they're already hunkered in because they've got that free 9 inches that can't be blocked out.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
true.
still think it's real strong. It's essentially like Scout 4.5.
Uh, the one of the things that did get a lot stronger after that update are small dice pools. Uh, Small dice pools now dangerous again, folks. Just in case you weren't aware. Um, and
why is that, Rich?
the reason why is because the cover system has been completely overhauled.
Oh, really? Has it?
It has, guys. Can you
Is it
believe?
exciting?
It
It is.
is
I think it's
thrilling.
exciting.
More dice, more rolling.
Nice.
You know, more chances for there to be epic moments of your dice absolutely screwing you and absolutely bailing you out, which is fantastic.
So,
Yeah,
who
so
wants to explain cover?
sure. You know what, Nick, do you want to take care of it? I feel like I dominated the last part of the
That's fine.
conversation.
So, basically, to determine cover now, it's still any part of the silhouette to any part of the silhouette. However, you're going to use that half range tool to make sure that the unit that is being attacked is is at range of the piece of terrain. So there's no more like this barricade is 18 inches away from the unit and it's giving it cover, which is dumb. So that's better. Cover got better. And now instead of like, oh, you have light cover, cancel one hit. You have heavy cover, cancel two hits. So cover now is that if you have light cover, you roll a white defense die for every hit or crit result that you are defending against. And on any blocks, you remove that many hits from the dice pool. I guess not crits though, right? I said crits. I don't know why I said crits
Yeah,
because
I think
crits
it's
aren't
just
canceled by
hits.
cover. It's just hits. And if you have heavy cover, you get to use any paint on the white defense die. So makes sense. It's exciting. You get to roll dice. But yeah, like Rich said, small dice pools actually matter now. Like throwing that one die at something, like, oh, it's just gonna go away to cover. Like, well, it might not because they're rolling a die. So good chance you get it through. And they have to actually defend and roll another die.
Yeah.
So which
And I
is
think that's why you saw like Del Mico and a lot of the snipers go up because all of a sudden that like one die going through with Pierce 1 is real
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah, like every sniper went up basically. I think except like Cassian and I don't think they changed.
Oh,
Sharpshooter
I didn't look.
so strong right now.
Yeah, sharpshooter pretty powerful.
Buy your sharpshooter crypto.
Low profile adds a block now.
Yep, just straight
It
up
adds a
adds a single
block to your
block.
cover roll, which is solid. I mean, it's something. It's like you're canceling it. You're always gonna get something canceled now for low profile.
Oh, by the way, the jetpack rockets went down to 5 for the Mandos.
Went down to 5.
Yeah. I'm looking to see what Cassie and Iden if they changed.
I don't think they did.
They didn't.
So yeah, it's cover. It seems exciting. I'm excited. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, the games are going to be shorter, so they're packing more dice rolls into a shorter time period.
Mhm.
And like you said, it improves the viability of smaller dice pools, and like it's another just chance for something cool to happen. Now, is it way more variance? Absolutely. Will I totally tilt when it's like round 4 and somebody blocks 8 hits in my cover? You better fucking believe it. But
When you
it'll
need
be
to kill
fun.
that single B1, you got 9 hits through, and he blocks 9 for
B1,
9.
the B1, right? The B1's like roll like 5 of 7 for cover, and then like you're left with 2 left, and they still roll a block, and you're just like, what the heck?
You'll see my dice go out the goddamn window, but you'll know exactly what happened.
Man.
But it's going to be fun. It'll be exciting.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It makes it way more dynamic, if you ask me. And Han and Lando and Leia and a lot of heroes like them really needed this upgrade. Because one of the things that I think you'll see from all of the new units, and one of the things that are really going to have an impact, is there are a lot of bodies. There's a lot of wounds.
Yeah, so I think core squads are where you're going to see that the most. So remember back in Grandpa Legion, what does Zelenka call it?
Like
Legacy?
Legion
Legacy.
Legacy
All right.
Legion.
Back in Grandpa Legacy Legion, GPP or GLL, I don't know. Fuck it.
Too wordy. Too wordy.
We're
Too
trying
wordy.
Whatever. Back in the day, when you added a guy to your squad, you paid like 14 points and you made your stormtrooper go from 4 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, man, this is
Boo.
great.
Yeah, look,
Boo.
I've got 5
But-
guys and a heavy. Look at me.
What if I told you you could double your core squad by essentially just buying it again?
Yeah.
Would you be interested?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, now you
actually,
can.
Turns out, yeah.
Yeah, well, now you can. So the personnel upgrades for the like single dudes have, I don't know if the single dudes are still there. I hope not.
They
But
aren't.
They aren't? Okay.
No.
So now you can essentially not essentially, now you can double the size of your core squads for their base unit. So like stormtroopers can become 8. And they also gain Indomitable.
I believe those cards had 5.
Or are they
So
5?
they go up to 9 plus if you're taking a heavy. Yes, I believe they're 5. They except the B1 squad, which is 7.
Disgusting.
Yes. So in Invasion Force, you can run 112 B1s. Guess who's gonna paint 56 more B1s?
I'm going with you.
This guy.
So a 4-man stormtrooper unit that costs 42 points can purchase. Let's see.
Pulling it up now, yeah.
They can add 5 stormtrooper minis for 46 points, and they gain Indomitable. And it also bumps your cohesion out to range 1 versus a half range, which is cool.
Excellent.
Which is required, honestly.
Yeah.
So for 88 points, you can take 9 stormtroopers with Indomitable.
And then you add a heavy,
and you get the
add
heavy.
the T21, you get 20 points. You're rocking 10.
Jesus, critical 2 on that? Oh my god.
Yeah, dude. I mean, spicy. Geonosians. You add 5 Geonosian warriors. I have 6 boxes of Geonosian warriors. I actually think they might have play with like they're gonna get 2 additional moves when they deploy. Like they're gonna deploy and then they get their jump move and then another action. So they're gonna be able to like get to terrain to hide. And then you can just like wait until you can like just like overrun something, take the overrun heavy and roll like, throw the overrun and then throw like 20 dice at something.
Ungodly amounts of dice are going to be thrown.
It's going to be funny.
I need to add more dice to my dice bag.
Right.
But that feels like they're putting an emphasis on the core trooper being an actual core. and filling things out. These things are going to last a lot longer than your Luke Skywalker, your Anakin Skywalker, your Darth Vader, uh, just based off of the sheer number of wounds that they tend to have over their counterpart at this point in time, uh, for roughly 60 points cheaper.
Well, you might be right, but they did add a new keyword. We'll talk about that for the heroes, or I guess a new game function. I shouldn't say keyword. But I do think you're right. The cores are going to last forever. Like you can't just. No, I shouldn't say can't. It will be very hard to one shot a core squad that has been doubled in size.
Yeah.
Throwing 10 black dice at you with some sort of heavy weapon on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember those extra 200 points you got? What if I told you you could build a regular Empire list and just put triple do flamers on top of it?
Right. Yeah.
Flamer stonks high.
When you just look at it that way, it's like there's just so much you can do. It's like
200 points is a
what
lot of
fits 200
space.
points. What was the last list I ran? It's like, oh well, let me just add 3 FD cannons to that list.
Dude, I was
Like,
real sad. Remember the Boba triple range list I brought against you the last time we played? I was like, what if I just threw 3 dudes in? And then I realized I can't because there's support. But
right.
you know,
Prepared positions is like an interesting keyword too. That like basically shore troopers have and rebel vets have and FDs have that essentially let them they get to place before the round starts or something like that.
yeah, I was a little unclear what this did on my pass through earlier. If you could explain it to me.
Find it in the thing.
Yeah, I was looking it up 1 second.
So while you guys are looking at that, I'll finish the new game mechanic that I was talking about. So for heroes, they added a new mechanic called backup. So backup says that a trooper unit with the commander or operative rank benefits from backup if it is at half a range and has line of sight to the unit leader of a unit that provides backup. A unit must meet the following requirements to provide backup. It's a core, it's a trooper unit, and it does not have a number of suppression tokens equal to or greater than its courage. So what happens? When a unit that is benefiting from backup is attacked by a ranged attack and the attacking unit's unit leader is beyond range 2 of it, it may cancel up to 2 hit results during the modify attack dice step of the attack sequence. Not transfer the hits, not make the attacker re-roll, not get a re-roll. It just flat out takes them away.
Yep.
I have a big question about this. Does this stack?
So as written, it reads like it stacks, but I'm not positive. This is one of those ones where I think we're gonna need some form clarification on it, because if it stacks, uh, then I don't know if I'm sadder or happier. I think I'm happier as a player who wants my heroes to be impactful and survive, because I'm not sure how long a Luke Skywalker lives if he takes 2 to 3 shots from a ten model stormtrooper squad.
Because
Sure.
nothing here makes me think that.
It's not a keyword though.
Right. And that's why I wasn't sure, because like if it's just a mechanic and like it's a unit providing said mechanic, I don't know.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to that because I think like you said, Rich, it goes both ways. Like it could be pretty NPE because realistically you would only ever roll crits against like a Jedi like Obi-Wan, but also like it might be necessary with the amount of dice that are getting flung around these days. I don't know. Did you
Uh,
guys figure out
yeah,
prepared
so prepared
positions?
prepared
Oh,
positions. You deploy these units back and forth from blue to red in the pre-round, the pre-deployment phase.
There's a step.
Yeah, it's a step.
Yeah. And then they
Um,
get a dodge. They can be deployed anywhere in your like zone.
which is great.
Yeah.
Do they get a does their order token get flipped face down or do they just get to activate?
They just get to activate.
That's pretty good for like a
Yeah.
short trooper. You could just move and shoot right off the bat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Buy them on Amazon, people. They're cheap right now.
All right, Jeff Bezos.
Now I'm pissed at him. I can't use my prime points for that one right now.
All right. Passing.
Passing
Ooh.
got reworked a
Got-
lot.
Yeah.
Rich, do you want to go through that as somebody who has taken advantage of that
Yeah.
mechanic?
So passing now will give you'll have one less pass than the difference between what you and your opponent bring in activations. So say if you're the blue player, you brought 10 activations and you're playing against one of those scumbag Gar players who's playing an 8 act list, they'll have one pass because it is 10 minus 8 is one, 2 minus 1 is 1. But say if you're playing one of those scumbag 14 act Ewok lists, uh, and you're playing that same Gar team, 14
You're gonna
minus 8
get
is 6,
you get five
minus 1 is
points.
5. You know, so 5 passes really can make a difference in being able to keep up with some of those higher activation lists. And uh, one of the things that they've added to pass is that you can't pass back to back. So you can pass once, then you have to go the next time, then you can pass again. So you cannot save the passes for say the end of the round and use all of them at once. You have to use them interspersed into your regular activations.
I think this is good because you can make a 21 activation imperialist.
I mean,
Who?
So like I
Why?
think be well, because if everything is area control, it gives me double the options of you to control said area. So I think having multiple pass actions to just like you said, space out your activations will be good. Because let's be real, if you have 21 activations, you can one shot most of them. So if you can kind of let them go two in a row and then you go, you can strike back pretty hard. I like the new I think I like the new pass rule with the larger point size.
I think it was necessary given that you've made the game. How would Kentucky Dan put this? Mobile, more engaging, more putting the fight to the game. Um, you are uh, needing to be mobile. You're needing to get in there. You're needing to get in the mix. And if you have 6 more activations than your uh, army that you're playing against, you're gonna have a pressing advantage if you were able to just out activate them 5 times in a row. That is where I like the passing. Um, I definitely am still slightly concerned that the number of units that we're going to see on a field might be real high. Uh, just in terms of the way again detachment is working and all.
yep.
Yeah, agreed. What we can talk about the upgrade cards a little bit as well. Personally, sadly, it looks like the art is gone from a lot of the new upgrade cards, but that also means that there's more space to put like rules or reminder text, which I think is a net positive. I'm a big
Also
I'm a big
going to
art
full
fan.
size cards too.
I'm sorry, come again.
The upgrades are going to full size cards too.
Oh, good. Like trading card sized.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. I hopefully they take advantage of that space for like rules text and rules reminder. I think that would be a great change if they're going to take away the art because the art's cool.
Do we think that's a just an effect of uh the new edition coming out, or do you think maybe when they release new cards, we'll actually get art on them? Because like they might not have licensed to be able to use those art assets on the cards that they currently have.
X-Wing stopped putting art on their upgrade cards a long time ago.
I think it's a budget cut, honestly, just because everything in the world has gotten more expensive. And let's be real, we're paying for the extra stuff in the mini pricing right now. So I'm sure that they had to cut corners somewhere. I think
Yeah.
it's a budget cut for better or worse. But
Well,
hopefully they take advantage of that with rules text reminders.
you know where that does come out better though. That comes out better for prize support and options to give that stuff flavor. I remember for X-Wing 2.0, I got some metal upgrade cards that were really really sweet. And being able to do stuff like that as a community gives an opportunity for new and
Right.
cool looking stuff.
Yeah, like maybe you get like a force push that, by the way, is now 40 points. That is just like metal stamped with Gen Con finalist 2026. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
And especially if it's a trading card size, like that's actual swag you can take with you. Like I think that would be neat. Movement
Agreed.
is a little different. Movement
Yeah.
now reads after you put the movement tool down, you get to drop the unit leader anywhere in base contact with any part of the movement tool, which means you're no longer forced to put it in the bevel at the end, aka you can now move further than a range band.
We're getting new movement tools eventually.
We have to, right? Like, there's no way we're not.
Yeah, MCP originally had like notches on both ends, and now they only have notches on the one end, and the other
Got
end
it.
is flat. So I'm pretty sure eventually we'll be getting new movement tools to reflect that.
I
I
hope
would be
so.
surprised if we didn't. Yeah. Yeah. Just, yeah, eventually we'll get it. Like, you never know. Might be sooner rather than later.
That's gonna
I
catch someone unawares.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys feel about it?
I don't love it. Mm.
Honestly, I like it because it gets rid of that like I'm at exactly range 2. You can't get to me with a single move, double move. Uh, it is it does limit the player expression of talent and skill uh to not have to or be able to out measure someone and out movement them and use precision movement
Mm-hmm.
to get the drop on them. But overall, it does give the opportunity for cleaner play, if you ask me.
Yeah, I
Agreed.
mean, I'm initially disappointed by the fact that I can no longer just outplay somebody that way because it's a skill and you need to learn it. But you're going to learn what the new range is.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So if now I just need to be like 13 and a half inches away versus 12, I'm going to learn it. Let's be real. Um, is it going to be harder to measure 13 and a half inches without like having a tape measure? Probably, but we'll be able to figure it out.
Well, we
Um,
have a new half-inch measurement tool,
we do.
so
Yes, it'll be a thing. Hopefully, we get like a clip-on one because that'll be useful. But anyway, I'm not a huge fan of the change, but it's not really going to change anything once players figure out the
Right.
new dimensions. So be it. Withdrawal changed as well because I think they're trying to push melee, as we were talking about earlier. There's a lot more things that are closer together. You'll notice that a lot of the new units have better melee profiles, and things like arc troopers now have the same weapon for melee to two. It's two black dice. So I think they're encouraging that a little bit, and they changed withdrawal accordingly. Withdrawal now only takes one action of your turn, but you can attack if you do that. It limits you to what you can do. Essentially, you also can't move afterwards. You would basically be able to like withdraw and dodge or withdraw and aim if you're a clone, things of that nature. You can't withdraw and interact if I remember correctly, or like claim an objective.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. There are there are limitations. It's just like you're not limited to the one action, which is great. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I like it.
Sneak one of the sneaky rules that I thought came in was about suppression. Uh, and suppression now, uh, in order to get the improved cover from suppression, you actually have to have suppression equal to your courage value. So you're not getting light cover until you've hit that second suppression on a courage 2 unit, or if you're Yoda, you're not getting suppression. You're not getting light cover until a light
So
cover
you're
boost into
suppressed.
force suppression, which is nice. It's a nice change.
Makes
Um,
sense. It's good because like the units, like the one courage units that like you get shot at once, like at least I'm suppressed. It's like at least like now it's like they're punished usually for having that lower courage value. Now at least they're getting a benefit that everyone else isn't getting. Where like, oh yeah, you took a shot at my Luke Skywalker who had a dodge and he's got 4 courage. So now he has cover. Thanks. It's like not a big deal, but now it's like, they're not going to get suppression cover hardly ever. And, I like it. It's a good change.
It's a little cleaner.
Yeah, it's a good change.
Um, Also, if we're kind of just like hitting general keywords and such as well, AI is totally different.
Yeah,
And so is
it is.
issuing orders. So let's tie this in together. There's no
Mm-hmm.
longer a command bubble for issuing orders. you can just issue them. So I don't
Yep.
need to be at range 3 anymore. However, range 3 is important in your memory banks because that is essentially what AI is now. So AI doesn't trigger if you're within range 3 of a friendly commander unit. So like if Kraken's on the field with, let's say Kalani. If Kalani's on the field with a bunch of B1s, if a B1 is at range 2 of Kalani and doesn't have face up, its AI does not trigger.
Massive.
I don't love it because that was one of the things that kind of made droids feel a little bit more unique, is like, how do I build my list in order to get these units or get these orders chaining? I don't know.
I
Any thoughts there?
I think it was a limiting factor. It's kind of like fire support for me, which they got rid of and changed to now. Fire support is you just get a free standby if you have the fire support keyword, which you can get from a comms technician. It is no longer on the unit card for clones. So it felt like to me like they looked at AI and found it to one either be a non-factor for players that knew how to play the game and could build a list in a way that
And it just punished
eliminated
newer
it,
players.
and then it just punished newer players. But it also tied their hands into having to come up with AI for these units that they're making that effectively aren't even going to have any effect on the unit most of the time, anyways.
It does take away from some of the droid counters though, because like comms jammer is irrelevant now. Like that used to be one of the things that you could do in the days of B1 supremacy and like AI supremacy is you can get a comms jammer in there. Well, that strategy's gone. Like there was counterplay to it to begin with, and now there's not. I'm not really sure why they did that.
Yeah.
And now that you have 1,000 points, like it's way easier to throw 2 HQ uplinks on your B1s.
Way easier to just make sure that you always have the entourage to spill off tokens and whatnot. Mm-hmm. It does feel like they made a few changes that I'm not positive. And again, I've said this for a while about AMG. I don't think they've taken the time to look at the knock-on effects of some of the changes that they make. It's hard for me to say that now because I haven't played the new version of Legion. But just taking a quick cursory glance at stuff, I'm not sure how tightly balanced it all is.
Just about everything they changed is much cleaner. Just to be clear, it's a lot simpler. There'll be some learning. There'll be some big changes,
Yeah.
And we're learning a new game, so new games will have new balance problems, and new games will have new things that are good, and new metas and new strategies. We shouldn't expect like SKUs that used to work in Legacy Legion to work in 2.6.
No, but I can put 11 Wookiees on the field now, and you shall
all fear
dude. My wrath.
I sent you guys that earlier, and I was like, I might need to borrow some Wookiees from Nick for a day.
Yeah.
Just because I know we're getting into like an hour and a half at this stage.
No,
yeah. A couple other quick ones.
Take a while.
So Exemplar is different. Exemplar is now basically everywhere except for Gar. Like Leia has it, Krennic has it. I'm pretty sure Veers has it. The generics
all the
have
generic
it.
Commanders have it.
Yeah, for the non-Gar factions.
Poor Padme. Never gonna see a board again.
I know.
Yeah, she was completely reworked though, right? Like there's just a lot of new stuff on
So
there.
they gave her Bolster 2, Agile 1, Inspire 2. Inspire's really a lot better too. Because now it affects everything within range 2 or range 2 of the unit. At the end of that unit's activation, they get to remove that many suppression tokens.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's how Inspire reads.
Wait, say that again.
So at the end of the unit's activation, remove that many suppression tokens from the units around at range 2. Is how Inspire reads.
Not that I don't believe you. I'm just
at the end of a unit with the Inspire X keywords activation, remove up to X total suppression tokens from other friendly units at 2. Okay, that's very strong.
Which is very strong.
It's not something. Yeah, I didn't see that one before.
It is a very strong ability. But Padme's bread and butter has always been sharing the tokens with the other units around her. Now, granted, the clones are able to share tokens at range 2 now, so it's less an effect on their troopers. But looking at the things that have exemplar now in the other factions, they're able to share with their heroes. Their heroes are able to take on tokens from those other heroes, which Guard does not get to do.
No, but Gar now replaces it with free standbys. So you take something away, you do give it something new. We've seen this before. I'm curious how it works out. Hopefully they pay close attention to it. And hopefully players try to break it and players try to counter it. I think that would be good early data to see.
Yeah.
Also, like take cover, bolster, and spotter are now up to range 2 to go with
Yeah.
our new token sharing,
All
which
of
I
the
think
token
is
shared
huge.
stuff. Yeah, huge.
Yeah. They fixed the 501st command card and they fixed Divine, the C3PO, Divine God or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
They are now at 1 versus within 1.
Yeah.
So that's good.
They changed
Retinues.
all of Anakin Skywalker's cards too.
Yes.
Yeah, Anakin got a complete rework basically. Like, do we want to talk about like some of these units that got completely reworked? Maybe
Yeah,
like
I think that's a good idea.
Right.
Starting the Republic faction.
Yeah, we can go to the Republic faction first. Makes sense. Rich, why don't you talk about some of your favorite Republic units?
Yeah, so guidance for Yoda got to be changed to guidance trooper, which is huge. Deflect on all of the Jedi has changed completely now.
Oh, it's good.
Deflect on range shots is you do no longer have to spend a dodge token, and if there's even one surge in the pool, you take one wound and that's it.
But to be clear, every surge you surge to block. When you have deflect, when you're shot at range attack, you gain surge to block. Yep, and if you roll one or more surges, that unit takes one wound. So it's like Gemso in that way.
Yeah, it's old Gemso, because new Gemso also works very differently.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
So if Anakin, we'll go to jump Anakin Skywalker. He's got charge, deflect, Gemso mastery, immune pierce, master of the Force 1, and tempted. In Gemso mastery is if you defeat the unit you're in melee with. If you're attacked in melee, you are allowed to make a counter attack on them, essentially, right? The unit suffers a wound if the attack roll contains one or more blank results.
If you take a wound, they take a wound with Gemso in melee. Yeah. That's how that works. So if you take 5 wounds, they take 1 wound, to be clear. Yeah.
Which is neat.
It's good.
And then tempted allows you, if you wipe a unit, you are allowed to make another attack with that,
or a move
with that unit. So Anakin can potentially get to 3 attacks on his 1 pip turn, and maybe even wipe a unit, and then jump into another unit and do a lot of damage to that too. So it's neat, real neat.
I just want to make sure that we read that correctly. Tempted is if a friendly unit is defeated by an enemy unit, and the attacking unit is at 3 of a unit with the tempted keyword.
Oh, what did Rich say? I'm sorry.
Sorry, I thought it was.
No, so if Anakin kills something, he doesn't trigger tempted. A friendly has to die from an enemy, which I think is better because that means it triggers on the opponent's turn.
Yeah. You're right.
And that is so you get to do a free attack action or a speed 2 move ignoring difficult terrain, aka a jump. Well, a mini jump.
Hot.
And it only triggers once each round. So thankfully, Anakin cannot ping pong forever.
Could
you imagine?
Scary.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
With the best melee, one of the best melee profiles in the game, 5 red surge crit.
Yeah. Obi-Wan got some changes here.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, my guy, jump 1, charge, deflect, guardian 3, immune pierce, master of the Force 1, Serratio mastery. So Serratio got a massive update. So did Guardian. So I'll go over Guardian first. While a friendly trooper unit at range 1 and in line of sight of a unit that has Guardian X keyword, it is defended against a range attack. It may cancel up to X hit results during the modify attack step of the sequence. For each hit result canceled this way, the unit with the Guardian X keyword rolls a defense die matching the one on its unit card. After converting any defensive surges results according to the surge chart or by using surge tokens, that unit with the Guardian X keyword suffers 1 wound for each blank result. So just like normal. What changed here is a unit cannot use Guardian X if it has a number of suppression token equal to or greater than its courage. And additionally, a unit with the Guardian X keyword cannot benefit from the backup and ignores the rank requirement to provide backup. So essentially, Kenobi can
Obi-Wan
provide backup
to himself.
No, because it has to be another. But like he could
Oh.
provide backup to Anakin or Yoda
Oh, shit.
or
or
Bad
Yoda
Batch.
or Bad Batch or any one of them.
In addition to Guardian, it also means that IRG can do that as well. So
Yeah.
like IRG stonks way high because now they can just cancel potentially 2 to 4 hits on like Palpatine, Vader, etc.
And then Serratio Mastery is when a unit with Serratio Mastery is defended against a ranged attack, it may reroll all of its defense dice during the reroll defense dice step. Additionally, when a unit with Serratio Mastery is using the Guardian X keyword, it may spend 1 dodge token before converting any surge results. If it does, it rerolls all of its defense dice before converting surge results. Each die cannot be rerolled more than once using Serratio Mastery. Nasty.
Did they have to give Obi-Wan Katarn armor that works every time he rolls?
Nasty.
Like, are you kidding me? He was already very tough to kill. I don't know.
Seems good. I like it.
It does seem good.
Seems real good. But I feel like without him having backup himself, probably pretty necessary for him to stay alive.
I'm curious how like not I'm curious how auto include Obi-Wan becomes at 150. Like you could conceivably not even take force push on him and just do something like barrier reflexes and just do
force push is 40 points now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just do like 170 point Obi-Wan that is nothing but a barrier dodging machine.
Yeah, something like that would probably be nasty. R2D2 got a little bit of an upgrade. He got Infiltrate added onto him. Clone Trooper Infantry, so phase 1s and phase 2s got rolled together for a 56-point unit that is reliable 1.
And 2 courage.
And 2 courage, which is, I think, one of the more massive changes that are being stated. Clones don't have courage 1 units.
No, I don't think they have a single one anymore.
Which is awesome. Arc Troopers got charge in a melee profile to match that charge of 2 black at range 1 to 2. They no longer have a range 3 gun though, which is interesting.
They said so. They did say that the reason that they took that away is because the incoming ARF, like ARF troopers, or is it the ARF or the clone marksman? One of the two that's coming is intended to be more of a long range clone unit. The ARF. So you'll have your ARCs if you want a close range unit, and your ARFs if you want something that's further range. Because they took away our DC 15, Rich. Get your pitchforks out.
Boo.
After we all finally fell in love with it, they're like, nope. We'll get it back. It is coming back with further units, but it's currently not in the game.
The Saber class tank. So one of the things that all armor got pushed to is full armor is now just armor 5, which I think is a healthier change for this game. It means impact is no longer like required. It no longer gate.
If you have large dice pools without impact, you shouldn't be afraid to shoot at armored units now, I guess.
Yeah. In return though, the tanks are pretty nasty if you ask me. The Lat got armor 5. The Rodog Nask Fluttercraft, same as ever. It looks like to me.
I don't think that changed.
The ATRT got a massive change though. Armor 2, climbing vehicle, expert climber, scout 1. But its big change is that it now rolls red defense dice. The age
Only
of
for the clones.
The ATRT.
I know. God damn it.
The time of the ATRT has risen.
I was like, wait, did they give it to us too?
No. So I really like that. I think that was a much better change to the ATRT than any of the other units for sure.
Also, crucially, vehicles are no longer gate kept by the objectives. You don't need thumbs anymore.
Yep.
Vehicles can contest all of the main points, like the scoring objectives.
Yeah. And because they can't, you can move through all vehicles now. You are not going to get blocked out from being able to just get to a point of interest as well, which is nice.
Yeah, they can't just like park two AA5s with their extra 200 points and say you can't get through this. Because I can just walk through it now.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's the last of the Republic cards that got changed.
Rebel.
Yeah. Do you mind if I just very briefly hit the CIS? Because there's not a ton of changes for the CIS units.
Sure.
Obviously, we were talking about Exemplar, went on to all of the super tax and the tac droids. They dropped in price a little bit. The biggest change, arguably, is Grievous got Entourage. He now has
Finally.
Entourage Magna Guard.
Finally.
About goddamn time.
About time.
I do like that he no longer has Arsenal and has his trophy lightsabers are just combined together now. So it's just cleaner.
Yeah.
Like it's better.
He still has the pistol equipped.
Still has the pistol. Still works in melee if he wants to use it. For some reason, because it does have versatile. And B2s are different. They no longer have armor. They are just AI attack with a red save. That's a
health, yeah.
and they did go up. They're 2 health, red save.
Yeah,
they're more expensive at 64 points now.
They seem very expensive for what they're bringing.
So their weapons did get upgraded as well. Their 1 to 2, or sorry, their melee to 2 is now 2 black dice.
Mm-hmm.
They still don't surge, but they did bump it up.
Yeah.
And their wrist rockets are at range 1 and they're 1 red impact 1. So like they do hit a little harder. They survive a little bit longer, but they're pricey, man. 3 models for 64 points. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
2 health though. That's 6 health for 64 points.
They had 2 health before though. I think they're good. I don't think they're like, yeah, I'm like trying to I mean, I'll play them. I have a shit ton of B2s. So
BX's got jump.
Yes.
That's cool. And
Notably, go ahead.
They still have Scout 3, which is awesome. And you can only take 2 in EXT now.
That was what I was gonna say.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. You.
That was a good change.
Yes, it was. The Persuader tank does have direct trooper unit in the EXT now, which is cool. So maybe you just drop the BX and add a snail tank that has direct. Could be a thing. Yeah. Not too many like overall sweeping changes on the droids.
Right. Did we mention that strike teams are now detachments?
We did not.
So for strike teams, you have to take a full unit to take a strike team, and you can take 3 full units and 3 strike teams because the detachment doesn't count against your cap.
You heard it here, folks. Everybody can take 6 sniper rifles.
What are the
ARC
troopers strike teams in that case? 5s
and you can still take the DC, can't you?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like 64 points for an arc strike now, though.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
All of the snipers went up in price. Like all of those special forces.
They're up to like 37 points a pop, essentially.
Yeah, I think the Rebel one went up to 38. It was 28. It went up to 38. I don't know that the Arc one went up as much. That one might have went up less.
No, but that's good. Keep them expensive so you can't pop my free standbys off. Nick, do you want to go through the Rebels?
Yeah, definitely. That's what I do, baby. So Leia Organa got Exemplar. She still has Take Cover 2, Inspire 2, Nimble, and Sharp 2. She does have Exemplar. She's 75 points. Her gun changed too. It's now 3 red, range 1 to 3.
No Pierce.
Doesn't have Pierce anymore though. I think that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, I wouldn't have wanted the gun didn't need to get better if it didn't.
Oh God. If you made that 3 red, range 3 sharpshooter 2 with Pierce, you'd see her in every single list forever.
You might, I mean, with Exemplar, you might see her in a lot. I think you're gonna see her in a lot of lists. I think that she's very good now.
At 75 points in a 1,000-point list, you're going to see Leia for sure.
See her a lot, yeah.
I think she's a vigilance engine. If you took that unit card with vigilance for 87 points,
probably a lot more value in taking like the larger Rebel Trooper squads with Nimble and keeping dodges on them. We're gonna get to them in a second. But Commander Luke Skywalker got a rework here. He's 120 points. He only has one force slot, but he did gain a training and a command slot to go with his gear slot. So he's kind of got a lot you can do to him. He still got jump. He still got charge. He still got immune pierce. He gained block. He lost deflect. Block still works the same way it used to, in that it's basically like when you spend a dodge, you gain, you spend a dodge, cancel a hit or whatever, and then you gain surge to block for that defense. So it basically is unchanged. It doesn't do wounds, but it works in melee. Um,
Um,
Go ahead.
Sorry, just wanted to quickly say I'm curious to see with single force slot if you do something like Burst of Speed, Luke. I
Yeah.
don't know if that unit card is good enough for 160 points plus with force push, but I think having just like a essentially a mini Inquisitor nuke for like
No recovers.
140ish will be good.
Yeah, he gets no recovers, so it's
Yeah.
tough. But yeah, sharpshooter one, his pistol went up to it's range 1 to 2, but he has long shot. It still has pierce. But it's 1 red and 3 black, so it's quite a beefy pistol. His lightsaber changed all over. It's impact 2, pierce 1, 2 red, 3 black. So a little more consistent, but worse. It's a worse lightsaber.
The Pierce value down to 1 is
The
huge.
pierce value down to 1, but the 2 reds when he surges to crit really bring the floor up a lot. Like,
Yeah.
you're long gone are probably the days where like you roll 6 black dice with Luke Skywalker and he like gets like 1 result.
Yeah,
Like, it's most likely always going to be like 3 or more, which is
that
not
was
good.
so many of my games with Luke. I could tell you where I'm rolling Son of Skywalker, and it's like, cool. I got 3 and awesome.
Yeah.
Glad I had that.
R2D2 changed, but he's the same as the Republic version, so gains infiltrate. Rebel officer also has exemplar. Take cover 1, inspire 1. Otherwise, pretty much unchanged there. Rebel troopers got quite a glow up.
Massive.
Thank you. They have agile 1 and nimble, so they gained agile 1. That's great. That's why we're talking about, like Mike said, vigilance on Leia. Like, your rebel troopers are always they're gonna get dodged for free, which is awesome. Everything else is pretty much unchanged on them. They don't surge to hit, they surge to block. 1 health, 1 courage. Fleet troopers changed a bit. They no longer have ready 1, they have charge, and they have a combined melee to 2 profile that is 2 white, so they get to use their blaster pistols in melee. That's neat. They
The
still
first
surge both ways.
the first time I saw this card, I was like, why did they give them charge? And I was looking for a new heavy weapon and I couldn't find it. And I was like, wow, is this a misprint? And then I saw the weapon profile
Yeah,
change.
it's like it's good. I mean, I like it. They're like, the aggressive, like, run to the front and punch something. It's neat. FDs gained they gained prepared positions, so that's cool. I like that. They're still range 1 to 5, and then they have the pistols and everything. Veterans, they gained prepared positions. They lost defend 1, but they gained low profile, so that's cool.
I think that's a net positive, right?
I think that's a net positive for sure.
Yeah, with the cover change, I think it's like good that they're always going to get something.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's like you don't put a lot of orders out on like rebel core troopers, so
Nope.
defend 1 almost like if you might like trigger it like 3 times a game. Like if you had multiple vets, you might trigger it 3 times a game. So
It was like a very specific commander build to get that defend 1 to
yep.
trigger, and now they'll just have that passive bonus.
Mm-hmm. Rebel Commando strike teams are detachment from Rebel Commandos. We talked about that. ATRTs armor 2. They got Scout 1 as well. They didn't have that before. They still
They're so bad.
They're still sad boys surging on a white
They're
save.
they're gonna melt even faster now that they don't have full
Yeah,
armor.
they're sad boys.
Oh, we should mention this. Vehicles don't get cover at all.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
I
didn't
didn't
talk
know
about that
that.
in the cover section. Yeah,
Yep.
vehicles no longer get any kind of cover.
From terrain.
Yes,
That's good. That's
It,
good.
may,
it is good.
clean, very
it-
clean.
They just took the old convoluted rule that was total dog shit and just said,
Yeah.
we don't want it anymore.
That's good.
Yeah.
T-47s now have armor 3, not full armor, obviously. The X-34 armor 2, it lost transport because transport completely changed. We could probably plug that here.
With the AA5 card next, yeah.
Yeah. AA5 has Still has transport, it has armor 5. Everything else is the same. So basically transport is now when you deploy when you deploy a unit, you can deploy them off of a transport.
Yeah.
So it's like, and you can't go back in it. So there's no more transport shenanigans. It definitely brings down the value of like something like the AA5 a lot, I think.
Yeah, and displacement is no longer a thing. It's just like
Right,
not,
yeah.
it does not exist.
A reckless driver was just ejected from the game. It's a card that doesn't exist anymore. There's like a list in the I think it's the errata doc. It
Yeah.
says that like at the end there's like 5 or 6 cards. A lot of the comms cards are gone because of like there's no need to take commanding presence and stuff like that anymore. And like the comm link thing for the droids. So it's like the reckless driver is also on that list. It's gone. Bye.
I'm not upset about that, honestly.
No, it's fine. I never played Reckless Driver anyway, but it's like the not like so like basically like vehicles can't move if you just put like a trooper mini like near it, like where it would want to move. Like that's kind of I mean, there's no more KP, so there's no reason for them to need to touch something. So like you just if you want them contesting objectives, you just got to get them there before troopers get all clogged up everywhere, I guess. Mike, you want to take the Empire real quick?
Yeah, there's some cool stuff. Krennic is useful again. He's down to 65 points. He's got Spotter and Exemplar. Also, we should mention Entourage also lets units get past the backup. So, like, Krennic can get backup from his Death Troopers.
Yep.
Wow, cool.
So, Krennic's not irrelevant. His gun did lose Pierce, but it's now range 1 to 2, 3 red, so it's no longer the rainbow.
Spicy.
And he's no longer Surge Crit, so he's a little different. He's a little more support, which I think is good. Veers is interesting. Veers' gun also changed. He's got the same thing as Leia, where it's range 1 to 3, 3 red.
And he surges to crit.
He surges to crit. He only a sharpshooter one though, but crucially, he's got guidance ground vehicle.
Huge.
Yeah,
huge,
so like
huge,
he can
huge,
tell
huge.
ATSTs to move.
He can tell ATSTs to take an aim or take a standby or
Yeah.
A lot of things that you can do with that on a vehicle, which is not space that they've had to explore before, and giving it to a Empire unit kind of points Empire in a great direction, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
The Imperial officer got some great new art, but otherwise just gained Exemplar.
Man, the first time I saw that art was in X-Wing 1.0, and it was on the Ruthless, like elite pilot talent. It was, and
well,
like,
her subtitle is Ruthless Commander.
I know it's great. Yep,
They know what they were doing there.
Yep.
The Gav tank got armor 5. Also, notched units essentially get a free reposition now.
Yeah,
we forgot to mention that earlier. Shore troopers lost target 1, sad times, but they did gain coordinated placement trooper. Or, I'm sorry, they gained prepared positions and kept coordinated placement trooper. Their base gun also changed, so it's still 1 to 3
now.
Yeah, so shore troopers can shoot at 4 now, which I think is why they took away target. They have long shot. It's 1 to 3 with long shot.
Yeah,
No,
they had to take away target for that.
I thought it was just 1 to 4.
It's 1 to 3 with long shot, according to the shore troopers.
Oh, sorry, wrong one.
Yeah. So you can hit that full T21B shot at range 4 now, baby.
That's good.
So I'm taking 6 of them with Vader. We'll see how it works.
Oh man.
Buy them on Amazon, boys. Stormtroopers are the same.
Stop it, Bezos. Get out of here.
Stormtroopers are the same. They just lost 2 points. Same with your snowtroopers.
No, their melee is worse. They got.
Oh, you're right. Their melee is down to white.
They downgrade them. They explain why it makes like it leaves more room for the charge boys, right? Like when it makes sense that their melee shouldn't be as good as the guys with the batons.
The E-Web's got a nice buff too.
Yes,
so the E-Web gained prepared position, and it also got range 4 on its main gun.
Yep.
So now at range 4, it's a red, 2 black, 2 white with cumbersome, fixed front, and impact 1. Still Surge's crit.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same gun, right?
It is. It's just a range band further, which is kind of big.
It's hot.
It's good.
Scout troopers are essentially the same. Big changes to like the mine units though, like proton charge saboteurs and the sonic debts. You no longer throw mine tokens.
Yeah.
Now it's basically a grenade option. I don't I think I like it a lot actually because it's just going to keep the board cleaner. There's a lot more tokens on the board now with the
So
secondary supplies, and not that there's more tokens, but there's more tokens that matter and directly matter on how you win.
so as long as they keep like the Sabine, the Bosk, in future things like that, still getting to do something special with mines and stuff, or
They still get to
like
do their stuff.
AoEs,
Yeah.
then I'm okay with it. I don't want to see like next year at this time when the next set of units are being reworked and reset and reconfigured to meet this game, those things to completely disappear from the game at all.
Right. Dark
Um,
Troopers.
yeah, they're down to armor 3. Did they get a point cut?
God, no.
I
They
didn't
don't
think
need
so,
one.
right?
They don't need one.
No.
They're
They're
still good.
I might actually have to. I don't actually own Dark Troopers,
I
but
do.
I might need to buy them just with that extra 1,000, that extra 200 points.
Yeah, you just bring a Dark Trooper with you. A
Yeah.
loaded Dark Trooper.
We talked about the lat before. It's down to armor 5 from full armor.
Yep.
And the ATST is also down to armor 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both Marquand too. Mitra.
Yeah.
I think that's like pretty much all of that's all of the you oh no, we have mercenary unit cards because like they had to change a little bit
Oh,
too.
yeah, those are still in the game. I actually thought they
Wow.
just kind of punted Shadow Collective.
Well, no, Shadow Collective got no updates here except Gar Saxon went down 5 points. Woo.
Shadow who?
Yeah, exactly.
Shadow
Um,
what?
Chewie's ATSD went down to armor 5. And otherwise, like nothing else really changed. There's like new Ewok cards, but I don't think anything actually changed on them.
There is a lot of
Oh shit! They got another personnel slot.
the Ewoks.
Yes, they
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
You're
Because they're
hearing it
going to,
here live, folks.
yeah.
I guess if you're still here. Yeah. So yeah,
Who
both the
wouldn't be here,
slinger and
Nick?
the skirmisher got a second personnel slot, so they can take their like Ewok squad upgrade, which is 5. Theirs is it adds 5, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
I
Interesting is a
might
good
pick up
word
a
for
few
it.
more boxes of Ewoks just because like now I can run more Ewoks and maybe I'll like it more if I can run more Ewoks.
You and Chris better stay away from me. Those goddamn
We're gonna
bears.
team up and do like team tournament. We're just gonna like bring all
one
the fucking
one
Ewoks.
one of you guys comes with Ewoks. One of you guys comes with 100 army B1 droids.
112 B1s and A18 in the T series, bro.
Good
It's
thing I
happening.
have 3 dewbacks, boys.
Yeah, bring your flamethrowers out. All my B1s are dead in 3 rounds. Every single B1.
Cry.
So
There's a ton of command card changes. I
yeah.
would encourage the listeners to kind of take their time and read through them themselves.
Mm-hmm. A lot of them changed because of core rule changes, which made them it necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But Anakin's completely been reworked, so we should probably discuss that. And
Yeah, his one pip is bananas, not gonna
yeah,
lie.
that's good.
So his one pip is still called This Is Where the Fun Begins. And it has a divulge, which is resolve setup effects. Anakin Skywalker gains prepared position this game. You play this every single game because you don't have to play it round 1 if you don't
Yeah.
want to, and you don't have to toss it.
But you could, and then you can move 3 times and attack twice.
Yeah, because the card actually reads Anakin
Bananas.
gains free action, jump 2 this round, and can perform up to 2 attack actions during his activation. You can turn 1 nuke some crazy shit with burst of speed Anakin right off of deployment.
Hot.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
there's really no counter to it because he's not on the board until he's dropped.
yeah. That's good. Number 2, the card art on that number 2 card. You underestimate my power. Is some of the sweetest card art I've ever
F kiss,
seen.
bro.
I need that in a foil, man.
This round, while Anakin Skywalker is attacking a unit that has a face down order token, during the form attack pool step, he adds 6 white attack dice to his attack pool. Ridiculous.
So that makes him 5 red, 6 white.
Uh,
Surge crit.
yeah,
Pierce
yeah.
2 or Pierce 3.
Hot, real hot.
And the 3-pip, which is a new 3-pip. It's not Hero of the Clone Wars. It's General Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker in 2 units. Anakin Skywalker gains Inspire 2 this round. When Anakin Skywalker issues an order to a unit with this card, that unit gains 1 aim token.
Solid.
Yeah. There's a lot of like, because a lot of the cards that were like changed were listed in that errata doc, and this one is listed as a card that was changed, but this is a new card because it's got a new title. So we're not really sure. We're waiting, I guess, like for someone to ask in the forums, or
It's
maybe
coming
it's
with
already
Ahsoka.
there. If like basically, if like well, like right now, rules is written, he can take both 3-pip cards
Yeah, he's
because
got
that
4
one,
command cards rules is written
right?
right
The
now.
other, the hero of the Clone Wars is not in the like you this card's burned. It's just not listed. I think it's an oversight. I'm assuming, though it's like I don't really think it's like too like because they said that like they didn't want like the units in Gar to have exemplar because clones already token share. So they just didn't feel like it was something that was necessary. So I don't think they want him to have exemplar, but we'll see. I don't know. But yeah.
I think the sneaky value to this card is it gives Anakin tactical essentially for the turn because he can move, attack, and has an aim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the aims on the core troopers and like the arcs and everything are really nice, but giving Anakin that move, aim to just ensure that his full pool hits is really strong.
When these docs came out, the one thing I noticed when I was going through the command cards, because we're not going through all of the command cards, we already said that,
Yeah, there's a lot.
but all of Ahsoka's cards say Rebel only. So I was like, I said it in chat. I was like, they're revealing Gar Ahsoka tomorrow because they updated her cards to say Rebel only.
I do think one card that I would point out, Supreme Commander for
Sure.
Grievous.
Oh yeah, that one changed.
So this is Grievous gains Ruthless, which is the keyword that Moff Gideon has, where the unit can take a wound to get the free action, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
but that's really strong in B1s where you're going to be taking 9-man B1 squads every single time.
No, 9? No, like 14 man be one squad.
I'm coping, man. I'm
It's 7
coping.
plus 6, and if you're taking a heavy,
I'm
17.
coping.
Yeah.
Reckless Diversion also got a little bit of a change, which I think is worth noting. When any enemy unit performs an attack this round, it has to attack the same trooper. That's the same. Uh, but you can't use backup
Yeah, yeah.
if you're using Reckless Diversion, uh,
Makes sense.
which makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Uh, Overall, I think these are some nice changes. It's going to be interesting to see them in play and see them hit the table.
Yeah.
And man, seeing the meta shakeout from this is going to be wild.
Yeah. I also, like I said earlier, like I really take your time and go through these docs, the point changes, the player cards. Make sure you print your the objective sheets. I think there's like 4 pages you have to print.
Yeah.
Um, and make sure you read through these rules. We didn't hit every rule that changed. I think that would have been like we'd be here for another hour, I think.
We'd
Um,
probably be on like letter M.
yeah, it'd be a lot. Notably, like there were some other point changes to units. A lot of the speeders went up and things like that. And like I said, all the sniper rifles went up on the special forces. Dell went up too. Din Djarin went down 10 points, which is great.
Needed, very
Yeah,
needed.
I might play him this week just because why not? I don't know. It's sort of like I'm like ADD kid, just like trying to build a list right now. So it's exciting. Also, I
So
don't sound very enthusiastic today. I was sick today, so I'm here for you guys.
yeah, Nick is the most excited of the 3 of us, believe
I'm
me.
very excited.
He
I'm just
100%
like,
is.
Yeah.
yeah, I felt like dog shit all day.
We're going to put this in the description, but I want to give full credit to Rich for this idea. If you guys have interactions you want to see or new rules that aren't super clear, we're going to try, and I'm not promising this because we're going to see how the feedback is and how difficult it actually ends up being. We're going to try to do a series along the lines of like 5-minute refresh or something dumb like that. Send in your weird rule questions. Send in your questions about like, how does deployment work in practice? Or like, can you give me a practical example of how this new keyword works? And we'll try to do like a 2 to 5 minute video covering it. You know, we'll break it down. We'll kind of make it like a double length YouTube short in a way, and then I'll just bug Jay enough to put it on the channel. So I'm not going to promise that we do it. We're just going to kind of see how the feedback is and how practical it actually ends up being. But send in your requests. It'll be fun. We're all basically learning a new game, so we may as well just do this together.
I'm excited to be dog shit bad at Legion.
Yeah, this is Rich's idea, so I do want to give full credit to him for that. So
Get in the comments.
If you hate
folks.
it, let him know.
Get in the comments, folks. Let me know. You hate it, you don't like it, get in the comments.
But I think it'll be fun. And it'll help everybody learn together.
You know, might as well make it a group project.
Like, you don't have to qualify for tournaments anymore, so you may as well all learn the rules together.
Learn your rules.
So I think to close it out, because we're about to hit the 2-hour mark, do you guys want to do just like 30-second final thoughts? Like what your favorite changes and what you're most excited to try? We'll just keep it positive.
Yeah.
Rich, do you want to go first? Do me?
Yeah. So
Nick? Okay.
I've played Gar almost exclusively for the last 2 years, outside of a few, pickup games with Rebels. I'm really excited to try Rebels again. They look really interesting. They look really neat, from Commander Skywalker on to Leia and Han, and these changes to cover and how that cover system works. It honestly seems to me like it's a good refresh for the Rebel player to be able to be deadly mobile, and that looks like a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to trying that.
Mike?
I'm most excited, or the change that I'm most excited about is the new, that we got 18 new objective cards. I'm glad, like I said earlier, I'm really glad that they took the time to not just rewrite the ones that we had. We'll see how they work out. But I'm glad that they gave us a new game. I think that was necessary to not feel half-baked. But I'm most excited to try like an actual Vader Stormtrooper Legion. Like, you can run.
It's gonna be sick when you have like all of these troopers. Like I'm
I know I said
serious.
that I know I said that like 6 Shores and Vader is something I'm gonna try, but just for the themes, like you can finally do what's on the box art. You can finally run Vader and 65 Stormtroopers. Like, that's gonna be fun.
Yep.
I'm getting new ways to shit out of some of those T21s. Choke them. Fuck them.
For me, I've been saying it for a while, since the core rulebook came out and we had all these awkward things that didn't make sense. We needed AMG to release their version of Legion, and this is it. It's here. You may not like it. Give it some time though. Give it a few games. I'm excited to try it. I love Legion. I love all the themey stuff. This seems like a lot of these rules that changed, like it's healthier overall. Like, it cleans things up. The cover change seems really cool, even though it's going to be really annoying when I roll like 10 dice and I get like nothing out of it. It is what it is. I'm really excited to play again, to like play with all this new stuff we got. 1,000 points is exciting. It's a lot of models on the table. I'm excited to play. But yeah, I just hope people are willing to give it a shot, give it a few games at least before you judge it. There seems to be a lot of hyperbole and like negativity I see, which is, let's give it a shot. Like, you don't have to like it, but make sure you try it. Don't assume that you're not going to like it. You might. That's it. Mine was a little ranty. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Well, we're gonna go, because we've been
that's it
for like 2 hours.
2 hours. Yeah.
And
go Birds.
Hopefully go Birds. Yeah, go.
Let's go Celtics. Let's go Celtics. Let's go Celtics. Champs. Champs.
Yeah, fine.
He's muted.
Anyway,
we'll
Dad muted him. We'll be back in a couple weeks. Hopefully at least a few games under our belt. I think I've got like 2 set up already for this week, so excited.
And send in those requests. Hopefully that series takes off. I think it'd be a really cool learning experience for us all.
Get in the comments. Let us know. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Welcome to the Legion 99 podcast.